Hey, what's going on everyone? Supreme Kami here. So we do have two new units, not new units, they are revive alteration for the Gundam Double X and then the FX over here. I'm not gonna do a summoning on those two because I think after I did some part review, I think they are really bad. I'm gonna go over the parts, but I just wanna talk about if you guys do have, for example, you guys have pulled any of the parts before and do want to alterate them. I suggest you guys don't. Because you can, for example, if you have this week's no name material B over here, you can actually exchange for the alteration tool to alter your double X over here, or either or your HFX over here, depending on which one you have in your possession. This banner is similar to the one we have seen before, so you don't have to summon on it if you guys purely want to alter a part you guys already have, and you're like, all right, do I need to summon for the alteration too? The answer is no. If you guys have summoned it, if you guys have the material B, you can just go ahead and exchange for the alteration tool. So this banner structure is the same as the Double Riser, the Destiny Gundam, so those two are the same. It's just that Strike Freedom and Infinite Justice was 10 times better because those parts comes in a stick start already, and you are able to with their L badge coming down over here. With the L badge, you can exchange for that upgrade nipper or that gunpla build point. This one does not. So this one, the value on this banner is like significantly reduced in my opinion. So now we're gonna hop into the alteration page over here and talk about how these parts are. Just for example, just a quick, like, even before even starting this, I would say don't even summon on it, because I would say these parts after alteration are not even too optimal to run, just because these kind of guys, Double X and HFX, came out on a time where the word tag are kind of wonky. They will put not saying the tags are bad, but in this game mechanics, right, obviously all these tag fits their own individual Gundam over here. It's just that within this game, like pro tag, let me just give you an example, right, as we're gonna do the review over here. Like your pro tag obviously is for like a melee, and then high firepower is a mix, but you have parts like wait, so this one does have higher power. So this one, like, what is this? You're gonna put a close combat on a supposedly like a shot based unit? Like, you don't do that, right? It's just that back then, like, the tags are kind of like wonkies over here. So I would say these guys are not really good enough, right? So we're just gonna proceed with the talking about how good they are supposedly. In terms of the stat, like, the shot attack is not too bad, right? But obviously we do have a lot more better option. So I'm not gonna stay out all the possibility for a second option. They should be listed on the left hand side with all their stats. So this one is gonna be a shot base, so I have only listed out their shot attack, so no point of putting like the melee attack, right? So it should be in the left hand side, so you guys can quickly take a pause this video and just take a look. All right, what are some good secondary option? In terms of the portrait over here, this is for a shot based unit. These kind of tags are pretty common, I would say. With the first one, high firepower, E scoot boosted by 30%. That is really good. But the second portrait is a little bit to the S attribute, so this would be a bit of a bad restriction in a way. Some top tier ones we have is like, and it's not like a type restrictive in a way, so those are going to be a lot more better than this one over here. In terms of the tag, pro tag is not going to be you're not going to use pro tag in a shot base, right? So this one going to require some, you can always throw in that 1 to 100 scale wing Gundam, or any of the 1 to 100 parts that can kind of like get rid of that pro tag over there. So this one, I would say, if you guys have any of the other option on the left hand side, there's pretty much no point on alterating this guy, just because the tag in this one is just wonky over here. Alrighty, going on to the chest over here. In terms of the stat is just too average. It's not bad, right? It's not gonna be in like the top echelon of like the tier list over here. The tag wise is just why are we suffering over here? We do have an EX skill over here. It's gonna be the chest launcher over here. So this is a magazine base type over here. So I have listed a few additional parts that you know that you might have. But as for like the build project F91, I'm pretty sure a lot of people won't have it, but that is just another option. I'm pretty sure the build project F91 is on the same RAM of it, but I think it does have like a plus pierce, but this one does not have any pierce at all. The X-Mile chest Vulcan is a lot more better than this one, so that's another option over there as well. So this one is like, even after alteration, it just sucks, right? Not good. All right, moving on to the arm over here. This arm surprisingly have good shot attack over here, but you can't really use it because look at that tag. It kind of blocks you from using it. You have protect and close combat. Like, really? Come on, man, are you kidding me? In terms of the trait over here, okay, the trait is a mix over here. You have melee power boosted and shooting power boosted. So the only one I can think of that have the same situation as this one is going to be the Banshee Norn. The Banshee Norn does have the same same downfall as this one over here. This one actually have a higher stat than the Banshee Norn. So I mean, if you guys have the Banshee Norn already, I mean, I believe the Banshee Norn does have a better portrait than this one over here. So yeah, this one is just bad. This is no good. It is nice that it offers both perspective like melee and shot, but primarily if you are running like any suits, is you are either basing off of one specific typing like melee or shot. So it's kind of bad design to putting like either or. So that's not good. All right, coming down to the leg over here. In terms of the leg, the status is not too bad, right? You are on the top 8, so it's not too bad. But you are, I mean, gosh, the tag. I mean, you can work something out with the Pro Tag and Gundam type, but obviously Gundam type does not support any whatsoever of melee stats, so you're gonna have to deal with that with a 1 to 100 scale subslot over here. This is the EX skill over here, the Twist Buster over here. So I named it a few good options that does have a leg EX skill. They are listed as Swallow Double Riser, Double 7-Sword G. What is no 7-Sword? Yeah, G is just like the acronym for it. And then you also have the high new HWS version. All of those have a leg EX skill. So I think those are a little bit more competitive on par with this one. Those are a lot more better in terms of stat as well. So all right, moving on to the main parts, right? The backpack, you have the twin satellite cannon, but this guy sucks. Reason being why? Because the counterpart of it, just the regular Gundam X, actually outperformed this one, being a soul parts over here. How embarrassing is that, right? Even the free the original units on this game, that Ars, if that's how you pronounce it, the twin satellite cannon outperformed this one by a landslide, because the RS actually have a B plus power, while this one does have a flat B. So gosh, how you gonna lose your own game, Double X? Why? Like, why, man? So this one is probably not gonna be something you want to alterate, because like the Gundam X and then the RS is a little bit more easy to farm in terms of like EX skill level. So this one is just right out the bat sucks. In terms of the stat, you are looking at pretty good backpack, like the back shot attack over here. You do have Gundam type, so you can kind of work something out with that over there. But other than that, like, so for the first 5 parts, I would say it's just no for alteration. Like, why did it make this guy so bad? So the Double X does have 3 separate category of like melee weapon. You have the sword, you have the spears, and then I believe this is the spears, right? This one, oh, I mean, this one is called beam javelin, but I'm talking about like in terms of like the melee weapon category. And then you also have the whip. In terms of the sword, I mean, it's not bad, right? You have one good trait, like the back part EX2 boosted by 35%, but in terms of a job gate increased by 17%, I don't see, and you're locked behind S attribute, so I don't see these one aging too well, I would say. In terms of the stat, it's pretty low on the tier list over here. Like even attacks are mainly towards like melee centric. I mean, you wouldn't run this one on a melee build anyways. This one is just, the tag sucks. Not the tag sucks, but the stat is too low in a way. In terms of good option, I would say it's gonna be the Gene Sword 5 Buster mode. That one as a slightly lower stat, but I would say the portrait is a lot more better. You also have the Astray Red Dragon. That one has a lower stat, but a way better portrait than this one. The X model also is a better portrait, but the tags is a little bit funky. So so those are some good options over there as well. All right, coming down to the spear category over here. I would say the spear. Another one that is on par or good competition is going to be the Kamara's Radar. It does have a spear, like that big old spear weapon of the Kamara's Radar. That one is a pretty good option, but I would say this one is by far the best. Like one out of this DX kit over here, right? This one have an initial charge, so that's good, right? So that EXQ power over here, this you can in theory put this into a shot build and you'll be good to go, because Gundam type is a prevalent trait, not trait, parts, tags for that shot build, so that can kind of work. So this one is pretty good. Of all the 10 parts over here, I would just say like this, like the beam javelin is something to grab. In terms of the whip, there isn't another one I can kind of compare with, so this one is just on its own over here. I wouldn't. This one is like the same condition as like the sword, so this one is probably not going to be good for alteration as well. Just the low sheer amount of stat over here. All right, coming down to beam rifle over here. Shot attack is not looking too shabby, but yeah, I mean you can kind of run this on like a shot builds, but there are a tons of better shot builds based just this regular rifle. You have namely the Build Project Double Z beam rifle. That one is probably going to take the cake, obviously, with double really good portrait that buffs that shot attack, that shot build. You also have the really famous high new HWS. That one is really good as well. Good trade, I would say. This one is just like that flat number over there really hurts. If it was like anything higher, for example like 300 or like even 100, I would say it's gonna be a little bit more better, but this one is just, come on man, why? All right, so moving down to the shield over here, I would say the shield is another disappointment as well. In terms of the stat, it's not looking too bad, coming in number 7 for like each of the melee and shot, but in terms of the, gosh, like what is this? What are we doing with these over here? If you purely want to be like a defensive wall, having that enemy shooting power reduction by 30% is gonna be in your favor. So this one might be a part you want to pick up, but other than that, like this one just poorly, not, I wouldn't say poorly designed it, but just the tray is kind of awful. Good option is gonna be the crystallized unicorn. That one's does have a better offensive, I would say a better utility than this one over here. You also have a Destiny Gundam. That one doesn't offer like an EXQ buff. It does offer like it doesn't offer EXQ power up, but it does also offer buffs percentage, like so that one's good as well. If you want to run this on a shot build space, the next, like the competitive, is gonna be the Wing Gundam Proto Zero. I think that one's gonna take the cake on that one. So overall, I would say the Double X is pretty much bad in a way. I couldn't find myself to summon on that banner, even though like it's a ticket base, like a step up. I just couldn't like find myself like spending horse into that one. I'd rather go back into the H2 Magnum or even like the Mario Kenshi. I think those are a better choice than this two over here. So up next we will be talking about the HFX. Up next we're going to be talking about the HFX over here. So HFX is a heavily melee base unit over here. So we're going to be we actually do have two new melee unit, and those are by far better than this one over here. So I would say HFX came out on a bad timing in a way. So we do have 4 EXQ over here, so we're going to talk about that as well. Alright, so in terms of the head, just bad. In terms of stat wise, you're not looking at anything in like the good, I was like in the good tiers, I would say. In terms of the portrait over here, my gosh, what are they doing? What? So is this guy is FX a melee unit or a mid shooter? What? He's not range unit over here. What are So he's gonna get a boost one time up by 50%. That's just awful right there. That's just bad. And like, I think initially before alteration, this one is just bad. So this one is just like, everything besides that is just no good. So this one, if it was an uptime, if it was like funnel rate, like shooting rate increased by 50%, oh, that's good, right? But uptime by 50% is just no good. Like, why? Why? Why are they doing that? Because funnel in this game isn't too good at this point in time. So whenever they can make a good adjustment to that, I think at that point then it will be like these kind of tag would be like these kind of portrait would be good. But other than that, so right now in this meta, this is just no good. I did list out a few better melee, like in terms of like focusing on the melee side of the builds. So I do have a list of that on the left hand side, so you can feel free to take a look at that. In terms of the war tag, it's good. You have pro tag and high mobility, so that's something you can pretty much work with as well. Let me just add one more thing. So this one is gonna be locked behind that P attribute, so this one is extremely limited over here. Alright, moving on to the chest over here. How's the chest looking? In terms of the stat, the chest is not looking too bad. Just because it's kind of balanced it out with the EX skill over here. So you're gonna have to subslot something that has a portrait. I'm pretty sure you can do a pretty good subslot if you go to the like all the 1 to 100 scale. I would say that the T-type Ixia would be a pretty good option over there. I think, yeah, the T-type Ixia. It's gonna be a pretty good subslot for this guy over here. In terms of the EX skill over here, I think the stat at level 1 is pretty low. Just like we took a look at the what is it, the H2 Magnum. That version of the FX burst is 10 times better than this one because at base level you get a 40%. No. I mean, if you're talking about like alternated, I will say that one is better because that one comes in at 45%, while this one only comes in at 30. So that's why. Pretty good option if you don't want to have this one over here. You are looking at a unicorn, the crystallized version, the Now Gundam, Burning Gundam, and Transient. Those are all pretty good options if you want like a awakening. But I don't think anyone runs awakening skills like that. So this one is no good for alteration as well. Alright, so the arm, the burst dash over here, I would have thought they're gonna give it like a S power over here, but this is just the one we have for the which one is it? This one is the same as like the the reason being why these are A power instead of being S power, because pre-alteration this guy is looking at a pretty good split already. I think you are doing like a B pierce and A power already. Reason being why these are just A power throughout, because like the first time usage is only 12 seconds, so that's kind of a way they kind of like put how you call it, that's how they kind of balance it out in a way. I would say this one is probably, I mean a lot of people run it before alteration, so I don't think people, I think people might just switch to something else after this. So I would still see a lot of people using it even though it's only A power. But a pretty good substitute is I only found one that have these kind of EX go over here. It's going to be the crystallized unicorn. The crystallized unicorn had better stat than this one over here, but if you're mainly going to run this on like a skin, I don't think the stat really matters as much. It's going to be mainly just looking at the the pierce and power split over there. I mean, this one is really subjective to whether you want like an arm EX skill like this one over here, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people will go for this one though. Alright, moving down to the leg over here. Alright, in terms of the stat, this one surprisingly have a better stats to the shot attack. Like, why? I mean, you have the Gundam type over there, but you are kind of limited with having like an EX skill over here. So this one is probably not going to be something good. This is one of those longer type of EX skill over here with that 60-second cooldown at max. So the only good option I will find is going to be the Ground Zone Gundam, but that one is like a build project, and that one is specific to like a shot boost EX skill. So I mean, there isn't like another one that can replace this one. So, but I'm pretty sure this one is like another one of those melee funnel EX skills. So this one may be good because like the Moon Gundam was surprisingly really well, like really good in terms of damage wise. So but these are like the cooldowns a little bit too long for these. I wouldn't really go for this one myself, but I mean the power is in your hand. If you guys want something like this. All right, going down to the backpack over here. This one is also is I would say it in its own realm, because like I couldn't really find anything that has like A minus Pierce and B plus power in like any of the other ones. So this one is pretty good. I didn't want to compare this one with like what you might call it, like the H2 Magnum EX skill or like the Transient, because like they have A power while this one only have B power. So I don't think it's gonna be fair to compare in that respect. So that's why this one will be on its own, I would say. This one should be good. I never actually seen the animation, like the EX skill animation of this one, so I can't really be subjective about that. All right, so moving on to probably the best, like the better parts to like alterate is gonna be the weapons over here. So this beam rifle over here, this is a good. This right here is really good over here. In terms of like the melee stat, you are not looking too shabby. 1400. That's a pretty average number over here. But the whole meat, like that portrait is excellent. You do have double EX skill power buff, which is good. It would have been better it was like a melee power buff, but either way, this is really good over here. Good set of war tag over here, so this one is gonna be really viable in any melee build over here. So if you guys do have the beam rifle and do want to alterate something, this one is probably gonna be a good take to alterate. But also this lists out if you want the ones I did list out, they're not fully like to trade that or like double buffing. One of them is like a ICD, so initial cooldown charge. So those are a little bit mixed in there, but I think they're a good option as well over there. Good competition with this one over here, obviously. All right, in terms of the bazooka, there aren't a lot of bazooka type alteration for these one over here. In terms of the tray over here, it's good. This one really excellent, but it's locked to a P type over here, so this one may be a little bit more limited. So this one also buff a arm part EX skill, which is a little bit too specific in a way. So this one might hinder you from just alterating it. I would say looking at the beam rifle, like the rifle category, I think they have a lot more better options. So this one I would say don't alterate it, just because this one is locked to like a arm EX skill. I would say find something that buff EX skill, but in a more generic way or a little bit more in general. So I mean, like the only thing I'll probably alterate, like if I have to, is probably gonna be the beam rifle. I think the other five, not the other six, like I mean the EX skill is fine. I think that's a little more subjective to like if you want some kind of EX skill, but I wouldn't personally go for them. There's a lot more better choices already. So with that being said, these two new revival alteration parts, I would say is pretty much of a letdown. So I hope this helped you to conserve more of your horrors, because next week we should be either getting the 2.4 update or the next week. So next week is gonna be a standard week as well. So shouldn't have too much going on next week. So it's gonna be a good way to save more on your horror. So with that being said, I will catch you guys on the next one.